I'd like to share with you a story about a death that never should have happened. This is a 55-year-old male who thought that he was having a heart attack. He was complaining of chest pain, and he went to the emergency department of the hospital. They said, "I think I'm having a heart attack." They did an examination and they put him in a private room where there was no one monitoring or watching him. After about 23 minutes, someone went into his room and they found that he was dead. He was white as a ghost, and there was nothing anyone could do about it. This was preventable and it never should have happened. Why? Because when somebody goes into cardiac arrest, and that basically means your heart stops pumping blood, then there are ways of saving it. A very simple device, it's right here. It's called an automated external defibrillator. Miracle of modern science, this is it right here. And this is in every hospital, it's in every public building, it's in gymnasiums that have at least 500 members in New York State, it's in dental offices, it's basically everywhere. An AED is a life-saving device. And why is that? Because when somebody goes into cardiac arrest, look at these beautiful trees here. It's my favorite time of the year in Ulster County. Somebody goes into cardiac arrest, so their heart stops pumping blood. Happens about all the time. When that happens, the person can start gasping for breath, they might pass out, they may look faint, they just fall down to the ground. The number one thing to do is to recognize that somebody is in cardiac arrest. And what do? If they're unresponsive, they've lost consciousness, or they're gasping for breath, what you do is the miracle of the automated external defibrillator, because this machine will actually, when you connect it to their body, will determine by itself whether they are in what's called ventricular fibrillation or ventricular tachycardia. And what that means is their heart is, instead of forcefully contracting blood, it's quivering. That's what fibrillation is. Ventricular tachycardia means the heart is pumping way too fast. It's not getting blood to the brain and the other vital organs. So when the heart rhythm is abnormal with ventricular fibrillation or ventricular tachycardia, this machine will recognize it and it will know what to do, because it sends an electrical impulse to the patient's heart that will shock the heart back so it begins pumping regularly. This saves lives every day. The proof is in the pudding, because we know that when these are used within 3 minutes of a patient's cardiac arrest, the likelihood of the patient's survival is more than 50%. But if somebody were to go into cardiac arrest right here on the street, this beautiful day, and if I just fall down right now and go into cardiac arrest and there's no one around, it's 100% certainty that I'm going to die. If I'm in a public building, a courthouse, a bank, any of these places that has an AED, and most importantly, someone who knows how to use it. So that's the key. You connect it, and this does all of the work in terms of basically shocking the heart back into a normal rhythm. This saves lives all the time. This simple little device that costs about $1,000. Why is all of this important? Because these public facilities are required to, come on with me, we gotta see these flowers, are required to have AEDs in New York State. No federal law, but New York State does require this. And they also require that somebody who's certified in CPR and the use of an AED be present and available in case its use is required. What happens if somebody goes into cardiac arrest in a public facility like a bank, a gymnasium with over 500 members, or a courthouse? Now, if they don't have an AED, then that entity, that facility is responsible by law because they did not have the AED that they are required to have by New York State law. Or let's say that they have the AED, but they don't use it or have anyone there who knows how to use the AED. Then they can be responsible by law. So when cardiac arrest happens, every second counts. Time is precious, and saving the person's life is so critical. And an AED is a magical device that can save you. If you or a family member dies of cardiac arrest in a public facility, courthouse, a bank, you name it, this AED is the miracle device that could save you. And if they didn't have one, or if they didn't use it, how you doing? Then there can be a basis for liability for negligence in failing to have or use an AED to save that person's life. If you have a question, or if you know someone who's experienced cardiac arrest, stopping of the heart in a public facility, and that facility did not have an AED, or the AED was not used, call us. We'll be happy to help you, give you some advice, let you know what we can do to help. And we are so happy that you joined us for this video. We're asking for a favor. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We post videos like this every week. Comment, reply, share it, and it would mean an awful lot to us. See you later.